We got the Colonel? How about it, Colonel?
You got me.
Okay, awesome. Yes, that's great. Yep, I think we got it figured out. So we had some recent reauthorization, FAA Reauthorization Act 2024 that was signed into law by the President recently. Why is this important to the unmanned aircraft systems technology, safety, and just the advancement thereof?
Yeah. The future of UAS or drones, we'll just use drones since it's much easier just to talk about it, and what they can do for our society, for public safety, public benefit, industry, is absolutely incredible once it's released to actually do something. And Ashore in this Reauthorization Act is put in that place to do the academic research to support those rules, those standards to safely integrate and inform the FAA of how to do it safely and effectively. We work as the bridge between industry, public safety, and the FAA to get that to happen.
I mean, lot of activity going on, is there not, Colonel, with respect to unmanned aircraft system technology? I think most average folks think about small drones and use that they have, a number of applications and use cases, of course, really across the spectrum of industry and government. But it's expanding even out further than that, is it not? I mean, I've read reports that Boeing is testing commercial airliners that are unmanned.
Probably the first step will be single pilot cockpitted aircraft that, these autonomous systems can safely fly and reduce human error that we see in aviation. But that's a long path ahead. But
Sure.
It's everything from very small drones to big aircraft. In the military, they have the Global Hawk aircraft, which is the size of a 737 aircraft.
Wow!
And then there's applications that require more hefty equipment, like precision ag. If you want to do aerial spraying and things like that with a drone, it's going to have to be able to carry some weight in the product that it delivers to the crop. That's just another example.
Yes, but was there risk, I should say, of this act perhaps not being renewed, reauthorized? Was that a concern?
There's always a lot of politics involved around that Reauthorization Act. So on the area of the drones and things, that was pretty well resolved early on, and we were very happy to be named the credentialing authority for first responder use of UAS. But the act got hung up in all kinds of issues as mundane as more slot times at Washington Reagan Airport. That's important to some congressmen, to bigger issues of does the FAA in the future use just hours to evaluate the quality of a pilot, or can training programs compensate and cover and define what's a well-trained pilot and not a well-trained pilot?
Tell us about the center at Mississippi State that's so heavily involved in the advancement of UAS technology.
Yeah, Mississippi State, about 10, 12 years ago, looking around, Dr. David Shaw really took the risk and had the foresight to see this and put out risked about $3 million to work with Congress to show them the need to get the FAA to move, to get the FAA to develop the regulations so that these things can actually fly in the airspace. So, first of all, I have to acknowledge just that Mississippi was on the front end of looking at that. And since that time, we have grown from a $500,000 budget to executing now well over $50 to $75 million in research a year for NASA, for the FAA, for FEMA, for the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and support to industry, and then other governments around the globe trying to get these things harmonized, the rules harmonized in there. And then where it's benefited the state, or Mississippi State and the state, is we're on the forefront of this technology, and we got autonomy and cyber centers growing up. We work with Ole Miss. You would never think Mississippi State and Ole Miss are going to be good friends, but in this space, Ole Miss Center for Air and Space Law are just the absolute cream of the crop of trying to figure out where's law, where there's gaps, what needs to change, and we love working with that team also.
Where's all this going? I mean, to the average person out there, what could you tell us about just your elevator pitch on what the benefits of unmanned aircraft systems are to society?
Yeah, let's start with public safety, since that's the assured safe side of it.
Yeah.
Day-to-day law enforcement activities, fire, EMS, search and rescue. The drones can just do that and provide an aerial view and perspective to the chiefs, to evidence, to protecting police officers on the ground, and they're being used as first responders already in many different districts across the world, where they get a call, the drone is immediately on site. It's looking, are there weapons involved? So the police officer, when they go into the situation, can clearly know what he's getting into or she's getting into as they approach the scene. Fire, the infrared sensors on the drones can provide a fire chief a really good look at it. And there was a video out there that I saw recently of the fire chief just looking at the fire, and the pictures from the drone could tell that the structure of the roof was about to fail, and he got his firefighters off the roof just prior to its collapse and where they would have all fallen through. So those are some public safety. But then in areas of precision ag and commerce, the ability to deliver to remote peoples like medicine, or just even regular day-to-day stuff. If you're living remote up in the mountains of Appalachia or something like that, you can be served and receive goods, and if something goes wrong, response to accidents. There's just so much. We just got to get the rules in place. I got to get the FAA out of the way so creative minds can figure out, like lasers, doing eye surgery and all those kind of things, what else can be done with this new technology.
So, Colonel, is this about figuring out what the landscape of rules and governance should look like to allow unmanned and manned aircraft to sort of coexist, even though I know in general unmanned are flying at lower altitudes? Manned aircraft had to get to that altitude at some point to land, right? So is that kind of what's going on here?
Yeah, right now one of the projects we're working on is the right-of-way rules, reevaluating who has the right-of-way in the air and how are we going to deconflict all these things.
Yeah.
Those ag pilots that are laying down spray over crops have pretty much exclusively owned this airspace and felt like it was their airspace. But the FAA pointed out to them, rightfully so, that this is the nation's airspace.
Yeah.
Now, they have an important mission to do down there, and we got to make sure they're safe and that they're not running into the drones. But the coordination and integration is all about what we're doing to figure these things out, so that they're truly integrated and not. You don't have separate airspace for all these different pieces and parts of our aviation system.
I mean, you know this. I'm preaching to the choir. We got to figure this out because this is coming and this is valuable to society and we need this. So you're right. We just need creative minds to sit around the table and solve these problems. Colonel, thanks for coming on.